So thank you for allowing us to address some questions that us as young people are really thrilled to find out. Getting right into them, my first question would be: what are some innovative approaches or technologies that Habitat for Humanity is exploring to address housing challenges more effectively?
Yes, great, great question. Part of that is the housing and the building itself. The second is the process of how people access affordable housing. Here in Poland, our focus is on what we call empty spaces, so identifying housing stock that can be refurbished, and then how can we do some of that refurbishment, and how can we challenge cities and others to do it as well. And then the second is how can people access affordable housing, rental housing, and that's what we call the social rental agency, helping units to be used on the market for low-income families, helping them with connecting with landlords, landlords trusting the process, and making sure the rents are affordable.
Thank you. Just a brief one. If you were to choose an adjective to describe volunteering, which one would it be? I'm asking this because in Romania we are calling volunteering contagious.
That word must be used then. It's a good one. I would say catalytic. I think volunteers bring, especially young volunteers, bring a certain energy. Yes, it's important work that's being done, but you bring heart and you bring ideas. And so I think it's catalytic. It's critical.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just sort of further on that, obviously this is the first year that there have been youth delegates to the European Housing Forum. Is that something you want to improve on next year and bring more?
Absolutely. And for 4 people, you were well represented around this area, and you inspired other young people who are here, I think, to come forward. No, hopefully the next time we do this, and hopefully we usually do it every 2 years, that we would have multiple countries, maybe every country we represent and maybe others. But we shouldn't wait 2 years. We should actually form that and continue that work. And this is not about youth coming to an event that's with people that are older. It's really about us listening and learning from the youth. I firmly believe that. And so if we can find ways to do that between every 2 years, then we should do that.
Of course, in your journey, I'm sure that you had and you still have probably a lot of challenges. So can you highlight some of the key challenges you've encountered in your path in addressing housing issues and how you've worked to overcome them?
Yeah, the size of the problem is huge. And, governments have not been able to solve it. We heard a great example from Vienna, which we can all learn from. But, if we can send people to outer space, we should be able to solve this problem. All the resources are here, the money, the knowledge, but it takes the will and it takes the coordination. And I think that's the challenge is, how do we ensure that people are coming together and working together and being challenged, but also realizing that we all have something to offer. And so that's what this event is all about. That roundtable should be happening every day, and it shouldn't have to be an event like this that brings them together. So hopefully that inspires others to continue those conversations.
Thanks, Rick. Well, I just want to know how we can take this knowledge about the social rental agency and bring that back home. So just wondering how can we begin to implement that in a place where much higher home ownership and also the dominant influence of real estate investment trusts and all of that privatization, I guess, of the rental sector.
Yeah, housing is complicated and as we've heard. And it's interesting because Habitat started as a home ownership model, but especially here in Europe, we need to be addressing issues of rental housing, access to housing stock, affordability. And I'm not an expert, but it's clear that every context is different. we shouldn't try to take one model and say, hey, this needs to work here. And that's where probably you all come in, because you come from different places, is how do we take that knowledge and then understand what works where we are? Housing is a journey. How do we help that journey? And that's, I think, the benefit that youth will take back. And if we had more countries represented, that'd be really helpful, I think.
Yeah. Can I ask one question just to close? What inspired you to embark on this journey? You were saying you came from an engineering background.
So I was I was trained as an engineer, but I used to work for General Electric Company. And when I was 23, so I was a young engineer, I was invited to a meeting about Habitat for Humanity. And I know nobody knows about Habitat in Europe. It's not that well known. We know it's a furniture company in the UK. But in the United States, it's a well-known brand. But back when I was 23, it was not. But somebody invited me, like they maybe invited you, to join. And so that inspired me as a young person to be involved. And, I think that's what inspires me to have folks like you here. Yeah. Not because it's nice to have youth here. That's not at all the case. But actually, we need your voice. We need your ideas. And so when I joined, I felt like somebody gave me that chance. So,
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.